Well, welcome back, YouTube. Uh, if this is your first time to my channel, well, I want to welcome you. My name is Michael, and I'm retired, man, over here in lovely Cambodia. Um, Mostly, as you can see by the thumbnail, it's really for anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be for the boomers, but I'm kind of a boomer myself. I'm 67. I guess not kind of. I guess I am a boomer. I'm 67, but I don't tell people over here that I'm a boomer because they might take it in another way. They got the girls over here. They call them boom boom girls. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but you can just imagine what that is. They call them boom boom girls, you know. So if I say I'm a boomer, they might think I'm hanging out with the boom boom girls, and I don't do that. I got a beautiful wife and a 9-year-old daughter. So been married for 12 years. I'm happily married, and but for you U.S. people, I'm a boomer. Just probably like a lot of you, maybe you guys that watch. YouTube provides me with a lot of analytics, so I can kind of see the age group and whether or not it's men or women, how long they look. I can look at the analytics pretty good, man. That's one thing about YouTube is they provide you with a lot of analytics, so I can kind of look and see who a lot of my audience is, and most of my audience is from 45 to 65, and then there's some that's 65 and older. So I'm kind of talking to you guys. I know it's difficult right now in the USA. I really do. I know it is. I have friends in the USA. Some of them are very wealthy, so they don't really, it's not really affecting them. But some are really having a difficult time because they just live on their fixed income, on their Social Security, and sometimes their Social Security is only around like $2,000, a little over $2,000 a month, and in the USA, you know, that's just especially out in the West Coast, man, that just does not go very far at all. You guys know that. I don't need to tell you about all that stuff. I've talked about that enough. And so I try to talk to people into moving outside of the United States, especially if you're an older person. There's a lot of fear involved in that. Maybe you're like near a lot of your family. Maybe you got neighbors and stuff. I don't know. But you guys have a lot of life skills. And you didn't become 60 plus years old by being stupid. You know, most of those people done passed away, are living under a bridge somewhere. They're probably not going to be listening to this video. They're probably drinking or doing whatever they're doing. I don't know. But hopefully the people that are looking at my videos are, like I said, you guys have a lot of life skills. I don't know what you did in your life. I don't know what you did prior to possibly your retirement, whether or not you were a teacher or an engineer or a policeman or whatever it was, man. Maybe you laid bricks. I don't know. I can't imagine somebody laying bricks all the way to in their 60s, but a lot of people are scared to move away from what they've known all their life. And I don't have to tell you boomers how much the U.S. has changed in the last 20, 30 years. I don't know, something like that. I've talked about it on other videos. I bought my first house in Phoenix, Arizona. It was maybe, the house was maybe like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. It wasn't new, but it was like in a newer subdivision, maybe 4 or 5 years old. And it was in a nice little cul-de-sac. And it was a nice little 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, had a nice garage, 2-car garage. And it was a beautiful house. All the houses around me, some of the houses were 2 stories. Mine was just a single-story house because I didn't need a lot of space, and that was in 19. I want to say like that, maybe like 1985, 86, somewhere right around there. Anyway, and I only paid $58,000 for that house, and now I don't even. It'd be hard to try to find a car for $58,000. So I mean, I understand how much everything's went up. Okay, I believe my mortgage was around $400 and something a month, maybe $500 a month. This was so long ago, and I got a VA loan, and it was a 20-year loan. I saved up some money, put down some money on it, but now, you know, you're looking at these mortgages, man. These houses are $400,000 and $500,000, and people are living in these condos, and these condo fees are going up, and these retirement communities. Like I said, I'm mostly speaking to the older people like myself, and I see a lot of retirees moving over here to Southeast Asia, over here to Cambodia and to Thailand and Vietnam. Some are moving to the Philippines. I really have no desire to go to the Philippines. They got earthquakes and typhoons, and Philippines for me, no offense if you're from the Philippines, but it's kind of a nasty country, man. It's just a lot of rubbish, and it's islands, and it's just not for me. I have no desire to go to the Philippines. I've been all over Southeast Asia. Cambodia is kind of like in the middle of all of it. Like I said, got Thailand on one side, Vietnam on the other, and got to the north we got Laos. And there's a lot of different places you can go around here, man. You can go to Indonesia and Malaysia, and New Zealand's kind of fairly close. And if you got a U.S. passport, it's just easy to travel wherever you want to go. Okay. Most of the time, you don't even have to go to the embassy of that country to get a visa. You can just apply online, and then put in your passport number, and it's a pretty simple process. I watch a lot of people here from Cambodia. If they're lucky enough, and if they have the money, they have a passport. It's difficult for them to go somewhere because Cambodia is definitely a third world country. It's 137th poorest country in the world. I believe somewhere right around there. Last time I looked, it's been a while back, but it's like 120 something as far as education. Probably a third of the population here can't even read and write their own language. So, which I understand, because if you look up their language, the Khmer language, man, those letters look like more of artwork than it does letters to me. But anyways, most of them will stay here most of their lives. But I know a lot of retirees that come here, like myself, and retire for so much cheaper. I live in a subdivision. You guys have seen the subdivision I live in. Pretty nice little place. And there's I got a friend of mine. He's from Singapore, and he speaks Chinese and English, and he doesn't speak Khmer either. So he speaks a couple words like me, but he left Singapore because it was so expensive. Just like the USA is really expensive. Singapore is very beautiful, absolutely spotless, man. They don't have any trash at all or anything on the ground. But he moved over here because it's so much cheaper. I got some other friends. I'll use their names because you guys don't know who they are, and I don't think they'd care. I got a friend of mine. His name's Nick, and he's married to a Khmer lady. She's real nice. They got a little boy together, and I believe he's a little bit younger than me. I think he's like 62, 63, something like that. I know he's getting a pension. I know he's getting retirement from England. He's from England, and he moved his family over here because of so many problems in England. He didn't want to be around all them. You know what's going on in England, right? If you guys watch the news, you guys know. So, and he said he makes enough on his pension, but He's got life skills. He knows how to make bacon and sausage. That's what he did in England for a long time. He kind of worked in a butcher shop or something. I don't know. But he knows how to make bacon. He's got a machine in his house, and he's got a little shop somewhere that he smokes because he didn't want to do it in his house. He smokes bacon, makes ham, and slices it up, and he sells it online over here. And he makes a nice little living on it. There's another guy from England lives over here. He's got a Khmer wife, Cambodian wife. He's older like me. I don't think he's quite as old. I think he's like in his late 50s maybe. And he teaches. He's a teacher, or he teaches English, man. That's his native language. And I don't think he even gets any retirement because I don't think he's old enough to get it. And he's from England too. And there's a couple that lives here, and I don't know how old, but the husband, he passed away here a while back. A lot of people thought it was me because they heard a foreigner passed away over here in the subdivision, and people were coming by to see if it was me. I said, no, I'm still alive. I'm still here. But it was there's a husband and a wife, and I believe they were from Germany or something. I've tried to speak to the lady. I see her walking her dog. She looks like she's in her 70s, maybe. And she's walking her little dog around. I've tried talking to her because she's, got skin like me, and she looks white, but she doesn't speak English very well. I believe she's from Germany or maybe Austria or one of those places like that. Kind of sounds like her English is maybe from that kind of area. But there's people over here from Australia. I go to the gym. I go to 2 different gyms, but the one is my favorite gym. It's KC Gym. And I go to the gym, and there's a guy, there's an elderly man in there. And he is 78 years old, and he's from France, and his name is Jacques, like Jacques Cousteau. If you older people probably don't remember him, Jacques Cousteau, the guy from the ocean stuff. Anyways, and I see him at the gym all the time, man. And he just say he doesn't drive over here because they got these little carts that run around, these little pass-up carts. They pick people up, and he doesn't drive over here. It's just kind of difficult to drive. I don't like to drive here. People don't really drive that well, so my wife usually does the driving. But you guys can change your life if you want. Like I said, you don't have to come to Cambodia. There's all kind of places you can go and live. Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. I don't really like living on an island because there's only 2 ways you can leave, and that's by boat and plane. And I don't know. That's kind of I don't want to say scary, but it's kind of freaky to me, right? So I pretty much stay on the mainland. But anyways, there's Costa Rica, there's Belize, there's all kinds of places you guys can go, man. Peru, Ecuador, a lot of places you guys can go. And I've traveled all over the place. And before I was married, I traveled a lot. Most of the time before I was married, I traveled alone. Sometimes I had a girlfriend that'd take me. Most of the time I traveled alone. And I have traveled, I don't even know how many countries. My passport was just full of places I've been. And I have never had a problem. I've never been robbed. I've never had any kind of medical condition I couldn't get taken care of where I was at. So for a lot of people, they've never even been out of the United States. And a lot of people, they say, well, I got family, I got children and grandchildren and all the rest of that stuff. Well, you can talk to them online. I talk to people all the time from all over the place online. They got Zoom, they got Telegram. They used to have Skype. They don't have Skype anymore. But you guys can talk to each other, and they can come see you. You can go back, on the airplane and go see them. But I don't like to fly on an airplane anymore. I'm not scared to fly. I have flown all over the place. It's just the fact that it's for me there's no direct flights from Cambodia to the United States. So when I fly, I got to change planes. I got my choice. It depends on which airline I fly. But I either got to fly from here to South Korea, from here to Japan or here to Taiwan. I like Taiwan the best, but sometimes it's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to fly to Japan for it. Anyways, and then I got to take another plane from there over to the west coast of the United States, and that is like a 13, 14-hour flight, man, and that is brutal. So, and I'm kind of a big guy, so it's just kind of an uncomfortable flight, and I don't like having to deal with all the TSA and the airport and all that stuff. So I'm getting ready to go back to the USA. I thought I was going to go next month, but prices have done jacked up so high now because of Thanksgiving and Christmas time coming. So probably like around the 4th or 5th of January, and everybody's back home. They've done spent all their money. I'm gonna head over to the United States. Probably spend about a month over there. I got to take care of some stuff, but like I said, for you boomers, you guys have life skills, man. Whatever you were doing, like I said, I'm 67. And I was teaching at an international school, and it was really, when I say it was easy, I mean, I had to sit there and it was kind of a boring job, but they actually paid me pretty good for over here. I'm not going to tell you how much, but they actually paid me pretty good. So a lot more than they paid to Cambodian teachers, okay? And it was just kind of monotonous because I was teaching younger children, right? You know, and I would have to do the same words over and over and over again, all the different classes, butterfly airplane, I see an airplane, just, and then I have to grade the homework, and I did math class too, and I gotta make sure they're doing division and multiplication correctly. And I sit at the desk and put something on the whiteboard, and I'd look up lesson plans on my computer and print out something for them to do, and word search, and just all kind of things like that. It was probably, it's like I said, it was a real easy job. The only hard part is I live in the suburbs of Phnom Penh, and I live near a lot of villages where a lot of the children don't have any discipline at home, okay? The parents are either busy trying to make a dollar, or they're drinking, or they're lazy, or they just don't really care. And the children just kind of run around. Yeah, the public schools, they only go to school half a day. So the other half a day, they just kind of, if they don't go to international school, they just kind of run around. So that was about the only issue I ever had in teaching, was some discipline in the class. And I kind of ran a tight ship in there. So like I said, I just send students to the office, or I'd make them stand at their desk. But at 67, it was easy. I just put something on the whiteboard that I already had printed out off the computer, and then I'd pass out papers, and they'd fill out something, and I'm sitting there grading their homework at the desk, and I sit down most of the time. I gained about 15. I gained about 30 pounds while I was teaching, because I just stood around a lot, sat down at the desk a lot, and graded papers and everything. And then I taught night school. Mostly those were older students that were working in the daytime, didn't have time, whatever, to go to school. But anyways, you guys can make money over here, man. Don't think you can't make no money. Don't think you can't make it on your Social Security. They have a company, or they have several companies over here. They will send somebody to your house 5 days a week. 5 days a week. And they will cook and clean 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I'm going to go home at 4 or 5 o'clock, whatever the company said. And of course the company is going to make some money. I don't know what the lady, probably most likely the lady doing. I don't know what she makes, but the company charges $300 a month. A month, okay? And if you got kids, maybe $400 a month. But most likely you could find somebody without going through the company. The company's probably, taking probably at least half of whatever she's making. So she's probably only making $200, maybe $250 a month for coming to take care of, like a nanny, right? Takes care and cooks, cleans, and my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, she stays over here, and she gets medicine, and sometimes she has a nurse, because it's easier for the nurse to get on her little moto and come over here and she takes blood pressure and my wife's mom, she's the same age as me, but she's just not quite in as good a health. So anyways, it's just easier for kind of like a house call for the nurse to come over here and check on her. And I don't know what she charges. My wife pays for it, but she like I said, takes her blood, takes it back, back to her, back to wherever she works, and they do the blood sugar and the all that stuff, the older people. And it's easier for the nurse to come here than it is for us to take my wife's mom over there. But if you guys want to live outside the United States, that's your best bet, man. You guys can retire, speak to your grandkids. You don't need to see them every Christmas, every Thanksgiving. For what? Sit around at the table and just talk about whatever. They want to look at their phones, slice up a turkey, whatever it is, man. I don't know. Anyway, so like I said, this video is mostly for you boomers, okay? And not the guys that chase the boom boom girls. And for you single guys, for you single boomers, okay? They got plenty of young, very beautiful. I'll put out a few shorts. If you guys look at my shorts, very beautiful young Asian girls, and they have no problem marrying an older foreigner. Matter of fact, it's kind of like a badge of honor in a way, I guess you could say. I'm 67 and my wife is 38. So that was 29 years difference. And we get along just fine. Ain't nobody said nothing. Maybe they say something behind her back. I don't know. But she doesn't care. I take care of her. They like the foreign men over here, more responsible, right? We come from a culture where, especially if you're older, like my generation, it's kind of like the man takes care of the house, of the finances and the wife's kind of a stay-at-home mom type of thing. So, a housewife, I like the housewife situation. My wife's never worked. She doesn't work. When I say she doesn't work, she works hard. She works hard at the house. She makes this house so beautiful, like my little palace with the garden and the flowers and everything. You look outside, man, it's so beautiful. But anyway, she's never had like a job or anything. So I like it like that. I'm proud to be able to take care of my wife and daughter and my mother-in-law. She stays here a lot too. I said they're my three girls, man. Well, even though mother-in-law, she's the same age as me, but they're my three girls, man. I got to take care of my girls here in the house, man. So, like I said, I get my Social Security. I'm not gonna tell you how much it is, but believe me, you guys can make it over here on your Social Security. And then I do some teaching, I do some tutoring, work a little bit online, make a little bit of money here and there, help people out, filling out forms and learn how to use a computer, all kind of stuff. So don't be afraid, man. You boomers, you guys got life skills, man. Believe me, I'm telling you the truth, whether or not it's here or any other place, man. You guys pack up the stuff, and get away from all those 55 plus communities, man. All right, listen, I ran a little bit long, so if you've watched this far, please hit like and subscribe. That's what they always say on the video. And if you have any questions about anything, moving overseas, what to do, any kind of questions whatsoever about as far as moving outside the United States, I got an email address just for that. It's live, live.rich, R-I-C-H, .cambodia@gmail.com, and I always put it in all the all the little description things so you guys can see it on there too. And like I said, you boomers, man, you guys have life knowledge, you have life experience. Come put that to use over here in these third world countries, man. Where look at some of my shorts, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay, all right, man. You guys take care, and like I said, think about leaving the U.S. So expensive, man. Your grandkids and they're going to stuff. Oh, I'm going to miss grandma and grandpa. Well, no, I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But grandma and grandpa, man, they need to get out of USA. Come over here and have some fun, man. I'll take you guys on a bicycle ride with me. All right, I'll show you guys around, man, on a bicycle. It's fun. So, all right, man. Talk to you guys later, and you guys be safe. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.